We are on our way to the car. On our way to the airport. To fly to Chicago. We'll first go through security and check in, and then fly to Chicago.
So I went to see ATEEZ. If you've seen any of the content on my channel, you know that I'm very into K-dramas, so I suppose it makes a lot of sense that I'd then also be very into K-pop as well. So brief little background on me and K-pop. I came into K-pop kind of around the same time I came into K-dramas, so we're talking really late 2009, very early 2010. My very first K-pop song I remember finding, listening to, the thing that got me into K-pop was the song Lucifer by the second generation group SHINee. And SHINee still remains probably like my favorite group of the second generation. So I came into K-pop during the what's known as the second generation. And then I watched the rise of the third generation and now the currently occurring fourth generation. I'll be honest, I've been pretty late to the fourth generation. I've kind of been stuck within my second and third generation. I wasn't really paying too much attention to the newer groups that were coming out until I stumbled across a YouTube video that was an online busking video by this 4x4 studio. It's a dance studio in Korea. And the online busking was basically, the idea was they would play the refrain or the chorus, whatever you want to call it, of a song. And if you knew the choreography, you jumped in and you did it. And I kept hearing a lot of songs by the group ATEEZ. Obviously, I didn't realize it at the time, but there was one particular song that really kept getting my attention. Anytime I'd hear the refrain, I'd be like, I don't know what this is, but I really like it. It was Wonderland. It's Wonderland by ATEEZ. So I came into ATEEZ at that point. That is how I became introduced to them. And it was very much like how I fell into SHINee. I had a similar feeling where I can like a lot of K-pop groups. I think anybody who was there during the second generation is used to liking a lot of different groups, because there was this feeling in the second generation of like, if you like one group, you like them all. Like, you didn't really exclusively like one group. You could maybe like one more than another, but you just sort of generally listened to and liked them all. The third generation is where I personally started seeing a lot of this sort of exclusivity, where it was like, oh, I only stan this one group. And that was where I saw a lot of the really ugly online fan wars begin, in which I don't take part because I'm like, can't we all just get along? Whatever the case. I had this similar feeling when I got into ATEEZ. This moment of, this music is really cool. I really like it. I'm a real sucker for a good, like, dark, powerful song and stage. And ATEEZ does a lot of very intense, dark, powerful stages. And then, you know, I would find videos where I'd learn about the members and learn about the group. And I'm like, oh, they're from a small entertainment company, KQ Entertainment, who also had Block B. They've also got the producer Eden and his team Edenary, and they actually have the singer Maddox. These are all people I'm aware of and who I liked. I just hadn't realized they were linked with KQ. I was like, oh my god, they give me the vibe of when like BTS was with Big Hit and Big Hit was still really small. It wasn't like Hybe, what it is now. And I was like, aw, and I was like, oh my god, these little 8 weirdos, as I call them lovingly, because they're all anywhere from 7 to 9 years younger than me. I'm like, aw, they're all really sweet. Like, they seem like nice people. They're very, very talented. They're all pretty much all-rounders. Tomo has a voice that absolutely, their maknae, their main vocalist, has a voice that blows my mind in a way I have not heard since Jonghyun from SHINee. I have not heard a voice that made me sit up or just stop what I was doing and go, whoa, those are pipes, and they are so stable. Haven't heard that since Jonghyun from SHINee. May he rest in peace. And Jongho's got that. But there was this feeling of, oh no, I'm in trouble, aren't I? I'm gonna really like these boys, aren't I? Shit, this isn't just liking. We're gonna have to stan these boys, aren't we? And here we are. 8 makes one team. I am definitely an ATEEZ. I have the light stick, all of the things. I bought tickets to go to the concert. Now, the concert I went to was known as the Fellowship, the Beginning of the End. It is the tour that was rescheduled from 2020. I went to the show in Chicago, which was their very first stop on the US leg of their tour. They had already done 3 shows in total, and they were set to, after the US, go to Europe. However, they have announced that they've postponed the European leg of the tour. I don't know why. I have a feeling it might have something to do with the quarantine rules related to traveling between the different cities, because you're traveling through different countries. That might be the logistics are too complicated, versus you can enter the US and you can travel to all these different cities because you're still within the US, so you don't have to like keep quarantining. You're not exiting and entering countries like you are in Europe. If I had to guess, I don't actually know the reasons. This is just me speculating. In 2019, when the tickets for this tour went live, every location sold out. Please keep in mind, ATEEZ debuted in late 2018, and they sold out a world tour in small venues like less than a year after their debut. This was for their second world tour, and they were in bigger venues. They're in arenas now, and they sold all these out. In 2019, I didn't know ATEEZ. I didn't get to know ATEEZ until like late 2020. So obviously I did not have tickets, but people were reselling them. And I had to sit there and think, like, as much as you can say this is a once in a lifetime chance, but then you'll go, oh, I'm sure they'll tour again. It's like, yeah, but for now, like in a moment right now, it is kind of a once in a lifetime chance. And I am happy to say that I made the decision to buy a ticket, and I made the decision to spend more and buy a floor seat. So I was in the 10th row, on the end of the row, like dead center stage. It was amazing. As you could probably guess from some of the video at the end, you could see how close I was. I was filming entirely on my phone, and it was a 3-hour show. 3 hours of these guys. I think they only took like 2, maybe 3 breaks for costume changes, and they were absolutely energized. They were on point. The fact that they sing this well live while flinging their bodies in the air still blows my mind. I think it was also really exciting because since this was the first stop on the US leg of their tour, and because due to circumstances, the fans in Seoul were not allowed to like sing along or scream and shout and cheer, we were the first crowd that got to really cheer for them and like scream for them. And to think that they haven't had that in years, that was really exciting. I also laugh at how I know so much of K-pop, there's fan chants for songs. ATEEZ just sort of like, nah, fuck fan chants. We just sing the whole song with them. It was interesting to see, like at first, because I was close enough, I could see the expressions on all the members' faces. This moment of like, are they singing their song? They're singing the song back at us. They're singing the Korean back at us, which I know later Hongjoong and Yuno went on a live when they reached Atlanta, the second stop for their tour, and he said, you know, it was this crazy feeling that they were singing in Korean back at us, like these US fans. And he even said at the concert, he was just like, you know, we worked really hard to all the members worked on their English for this part of the tour, which bravo to them, their English is better than my Korean, without question. But he said, he goes, I think you guys studied Korean better than we did English because you're all singing back at us. And it was like, nah bro, we just learned your lyrics. Most of us could not speak beyond the lyrics. And of course there is the iconic moment during the song that was really written for ATEEZ, Star 1117, which they never got to perform in the States. We were the first people in the United States for whom they performed that song because the lockdown and COVID happened right after the release of Treasure Epilogue, the album that has Answer and Star 1117 and Horizon and Precious. Like, they never got to perform that in the US. So there's an iconic part where basically ATEEZ kind of sings back at them, and you heard us all singing and, you know, building and getting louder and louder. And there's a really good video somebody had taken. By that point, I'd sort of put my phone away. But you could see they were like, oh my God, they are singing back to us in Korean. I mean, yes, there's English lyrics, but most of it's Korean. And that was such a wonderful moment. It was great to like provide that feeling to this group because, you know, here's a group of 8 members who at least their music brings me great joy. And it was, It's hard for me to find the words for how fun it was. I mean, so as I said, I was in the 10th row, dead center stage on the floor, and I had my light stick and I was cheering, and I kept my phone up, I would say for maybe like the front half of the concert, and then I put it away. I put it away because I was sick of trying to pay attention to whether or not things were in frame when I'm that close. And when I'm that close, I just want to enjoy the concert. So I had my light stick and I was jumping around and I was singing along and shouting. I did have earplugs, which was a great investment as somebody who played in like a 400 plus member marching band. Like, I know the damage that can be done to your ears from things like this. And I already have tinnitus. I don't need to make it worse. So I had tiny little, they're like concert earplugs, and I put them in, and it didn't affect my hearing of the music at all. So that was actually a great investment, and it was so fun. And ATEEZ is such a great group of fans. I was chatting with people in the line to get into the venue. I was chatting with people around me. I've never met any of these people in my life, will likely never meet them again, but we're all here for the same purpose. And so you could just make conversation, because it's like everybody here likes ATEEZ. That's what we're all here for. And it was just such a wonderful moment, to the point that, like, so this is Saturday, the concert was on Tuesday. I had to wait because for like 24 to 48 hours after the concert, I was still really emotionally overwhelmed. I could not listen to the more emotional ballad type ATEEZ songs, especially once they performed, because I would just burst out crying. That'd be it. I'd be gone. I'd be a mess. A complete mess. Even though I had a floor seat, I did not have a VIP ticket. I also did not have a ticket for the fellowship event where you could go in and watch the sound check. I didn't think when I got the ticket like that, oh yeah, this is K-pop, they're gonna have tons of stuff like that. I totally forgot that. Had I remembered, I would have gone in and like paid the extra money for the fellowship event. Obviously VIP ticket, there's nothing I can really do about that, because I was buying a resale ticket. If it wasn't a VIP ticket, there's nothing I can do. Probably also a good thing, because I would have been too nervous. Now, the high touch event, I'm sure people have seen videos online of what it was. It's basically the boys were standing behind like plexiglass, and we're in masks, and there was a mask mandate for attendees. We all had to be in masks. I saw it. I didn't see anyone without one. I actually saw a lot of people with double masks. So as far as I know, everybody was wearing their mask. But for the high touch, you would go through and basically wave, and a lot of people filmed that. And I was like, I would not be able to do that. I would still be too anxious. It's one of those things where half my brain is still logical and goes, they're just people. Like you and me, like they're just people. And the other half goes, but no. But like sparkle, shine, they're idols. I can't. And these guys they are so talented. It really is disturbing how talented they are, how stable their vocals are, how they give everything into their performance. Although, and it's been said many times about them, all the way down to their facial expressions, which is so exciting. I'm not going to say anything about the set list because, frankly, I think even Hong Joong said he's pretty sure the set list is leaked online. They did premiere a really cool performance of the song Take Me Home. I did not get any footage from that. It's one of those things where some of this stuff I want to leave as a surprise for people, even though you can go on the internet and there are tons of fan cams and you can find all of the things. I was like, look, I snapped a bunch of pictures and some video, and I was putting that up on my personal Instagram, and beyond that, I was like, I didn't want to ruin it for anybody who's gonna go. In fact, there's a YouTuber I follow on here who does really, really awesome K-pop reactions, and I'm in her Discord server, and some of the people who were going to the later shows are like, we're avoiding the internet. Like, we're actually avoiding Twitter and all these things because we don't want to be spoiled for when we go. And I was like, that's fair. Totally valid. I understand why also then people who can't go to the event want all the spoilers, because they're like, we can't go to the concerts. I will say this, I watched at least 3 different people get kicked out of the venue because, not so much because they were filming, because obviously we all had our phones up, we were all filming and taking pictures, but if you posted on SNS, a video on SNS during the concert, security would hunt you down and find you. Like, they were keeping a check on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, and they would find where you were sitting based on where you were shooting, like the angle you were shooting from, and they would pull your ass out. I watched at least 3 people get kicked off the floor because of that. I think some people were apparently even live streaming the event for a bit. I'm like, a teeny bee brave. I'm not that daring. I waited at least a little while before I started posting my pictures. I did not post any video, just strictly pictures. But obviously I'm putting clips and bits of video here. And yeah, it was really exciting. I'm 30 and it was my first K-pop concert. I have liked K-pop since 2009 and this is my first K-pop concert. But then again, I came in during the second gen, what was during kind of the first Hallyu wave. But they didn't tour the US. So this is like, since we're in the middle of the next Hallyu wave where it's like, oh shit, they are actually coming to the US. That's so exciting. And it makes sense that ATEEZ would have a US tour because in terms of fan demographics, they blew up internationally kind of before they started really blowing up domestically. And on that note, a bunch of us who were, while we were waiting in line to get into the venue, were laughing at how this venue was booked in 2019. This reflects 2020 ATEEZ, what they thought would be 2020 ATEEZ. ATEEZ has grown even more exponentially now that we're in 2022. We're like, they totally could have booked and sold out a bigger venue. I mean, I think the venue I was in was holding like 10,000 people. Not like that's a small number. Totally could have gotten a bigger arena and filled that. I don't doubt it one bit. Because I know people had they booked a bigger arena and then been able to sell more tickets, I know people who would have bought tickets. Not all people are dumb like me and buy like probably wildly overpriced resale tickets, but I was desperate to go, and it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm giving a present to myself. I'm going to go have a lot of fun and then fly out the next day and be tired and like, who cares? It was great. And also, yes, I did get my hoodie. It says ATEEZ here on the side, obviously the 8, the compass. The back pretty much just says like the fellowship, map the fellowship, the end, beginning of the end, and has the US has the tour stop, so Seoul and the US cities. Beyond that, I saved a bunch of confetti that fell down all over me from when they blew confetti during the reel and the end of Turbulence, and pretty sure it was also maybe blown. There was another point where they were blowing confetti out too, so I don't remember. I have it in a bag. I'm gonna put it in a jar. You gonna kiss? Thank you. But yeah, that was my experience of going to the ATEEZ concert. Was being really emotionally overwhelmed, of laughing, of singing along for 3 hours, crying at the end. Oh my God. Didn't help that Tongwa was like, don't cry, baby. And I was like, I'm already weeping and now you're going to play Turbulence and I am going to full out just ugly cry in my seat, which I did. I will then show you the bonus, which is one of the photos that was taken from the stage for the concert. I have circled where I am like an absolute lunatic, both arms up. That's me. I'm a loon. It's fine. All right. But I think that's it. I don't know if anybody cares or has more like specific questions about the concert experience in Chicago. Feel free to leave them down in the comments. And that'll be it. It makes one team.